We as a whole realize that infants are gross. That is only an unavoidable truth. Guardians are regularly shocked by how net their lives have become after their little ones are conceived. Diaper changers lose their stun esteem, the smell of let-out sticks to everything, and eating food that has been on the floor turns out to be absolutely ordinary. That is exactly how it goes when you need to shepherd somewhat human with a brain and interest to best any cat, but diapers and let-out are just the tip of the nauseating ice sheet with regards to infants. Those sweetheart little dear babies have appalling mysteries that will make you feel sick and make you question any future regenerative plans. Tidiness might be close to righteousness. Yet Pampers don't realize that yet. Number 1. Science says you should probably poop on your baby during birth. When conceiving an offspring, most ladies need to evade crapping more than most whatever else. There are a lot of gatherings and articles with counsel on the best way to stay away from the feared conveyance room crap. Nonetheless, exploration may show that crapping during work is useful for the baby. The muscles down there are largely genuinely near one another. A pelvis isn't exceptionally huge when you consider all the capacities that need to go on inside it. Specialists prompt that the muscles used to go will in general be similar muscles used to push during work. As is seldom the case some other time in our lives, if there's crap all over the place, something has likely gone right. Beyond appropriate birthing method, research shows that getting canvassing crap during birth may help fire up the baby's microbiome, which is the useful microscopic organisms that lives in and on people. It assists with processing and fortifies the insusceptible framework. Be that as it may, babies, in contrast to their folks, have practically no microbiome. Since microorganisms from the gut is in crap, getting soaked in it upon entering the world gives the infant somewhat of a microbiome starter kit, but for that to occur, some crap does need to discover as it would prefer into the infant's gut, which is normally through the mouth. A child's capacity to taste and smell upon entering the world appears to be more similar to a pitiless joke than a cool transformative peculiarity. Now number 2. Babies sometimes poop in utero, too. An infant's first crap is called meconium. It generally happens soon after birth, however a few children are excessively razor sharp. In these cases, it very well may be passed in utero or in the birth trench. Yet, where does meconium by any chance originate from? As children don't generally eat until after birth, meconium will in general be comprised of amniotic liquid and whatever the infant has shed into it. This winds up being bodily fluid, bile, and lanugo. All that thick body hair that a child sheds before birth gets sculpted or retained into the body again and turns into the main part of the meconium. 9. When it's passed in the belly or birth waterway, it can obviously be troubling for everybody included. In any case, it's in reality generally upsetting for the child. Infants brought into the world subsequent to passing meconium will sometimes have it in their noses and mouths. Attendants will at that point need to eliminate the meconium from the infant's aviation routes before the newborn child can inhale appropriately. Number 3. Babies pee in the womb and then drink it. As we probably am aware, whatever is in the amniotic liquid gets assimilated into the child. We generally consider the amniotic liquid a fluid pad loaded with supplements. However, it can comprise of different things too. After about week 10 of growth, one of those different things becomes pee. That is about when the child's bladder is sufficiently grown to begin passing liquid. 8. Sitting in your very own air pocket pee is awful enough, however you realize infants don't stop there. After 5 weeks, the baby picks up the capacity to swallow. Every day, they swallow a few ounces of amniotic liquid, pee whatnot. Also, as we took in a couple of passages prior, children can taste things in the belly. Number 4. Babies are recovered in hair. Everyone pictures their little bundle of joy differently during pregnancy. But we doubt anyone expects their baby to come out resembling the wolf man. But some babies do come out just like that, with hair all over their little bodies. This hair is called lanugo. It keeps the child warm inside the womb. It also keeps the equally gross vernix in place. Not every baby is born with this thick layer of hair all over. Most of the time, the baby will do just what you'd expect a tiny wolfman to do: shed. They shed right into their amniotic fluid and then absorb it along with everything else in there. Number 5. Babies menstruate. When in the belly, infants absorb all that they can from the grown-up's body. That incorporates hormones like estrogen. Children don't have the need or capacity to deliver more, so estrogen levels drop to zero not long after birth. Estrogen makes an uterine coating structure, and the sharp drop in estrogen makes it shed. So when the child has an uterus, that is actually what happens. 6. Still, envision the sheer frightfulness and disarray unseasoned parents may encounter when they discover blood in their infant's diaper. The disclosure drives them to surge their little one to the emergency clinic, where they're informed that their infant is simply bleeding at 2 days old, and that is absolutely typical. It's a great deal to measure, even without the scared scramble to the trauma center heretofore. Number 6. Babies are born covered in thick white goop. Inside the belly, infants are continually saturated. In any case, the amniotic liquid is profoundly acidic, which isn't the best thing for recently created skin. Something different needs to shield the embryo's skin from the causticity and keep it as delicate as an infant's bottom. That would be vernix, which has been portrayed as waxy, messy, rich, and smooth. Children are brought into the world canvassed in a thick white layer of vernix. This substance accomplishes something other than secure the skin. It likewise hoses sound, protects the body, and goes about as in oil during birthing. It's sound and normal. However, it makes children appear as though they've been abounding in a major tub of house cheese. It's practically difficult to wipe all the vernix off an infant. On the off chance that you do, you may really be pitiful to see it go. Vernix keeps a child's skin saturated and protected. Once it's totally gone, an infant's skin dries out. Also, following quite a while of being kept decent and saturated, a child's skin turns into a flaky, stripping wreck. Between 1 to 3 weeks, they'll generally shed their whole first layer of skin. We may need to re-evaluate the delicate as an infant's base piece. Number 7. Babies start to taste and smell before birth. We as a whole realize that children put all that they can get their small hands on into their mouths. Keys to fingers and toys all end up in there in the end. It's one of the manners in which they find out about their general surroundings. In any case, a great many people don't realize that infants begin tasting and smelling before they are even born. You may think about what they find to smell or taste inside a belly, and that is a reasonable inquiry. The appropriate response is that they test whatever winds up in the amniotic liquid around them. Nourishments, for example, vanilla, carrot, anise, mint, and even garlic will season the liquid. Some exploration has even demonstrated that infants will favor recognizable flavors from their time inside once they are born. That's truly flawless, correct? The amniotic liquid is somewhat gross, yet something else. It's pretty neat. There's one more thing about a child's taste buds that is upsetting, however. Infants don't simply have taste buds on their tongues. Babies may have them everywhere on their mouths, down the rear of their throats, and even right down to their tonsils. Number 8. Babies have huge eyes. There's something totally mysterious about how infants look up at you with their enormous wide eyes. They look so trusting and loaded with amazement. The entire experience flashes something base in us that prompts us to ensure the weak, minimal ones. In any event, it appears to make us coo and fuss, and that is likely generally advantageous. Since, supposing that you stop to consider it, those eyes begin to look somewhat odd. It's difficult to put your thumb on it from the start since children can be diverting. However, on the off chance that you get to the lower part of it, you may see that an infant's eyes look a smidgen too big. That's on the grounds that they are genuinely large. An infant's eyes are now around 70% of their grown-up size. That sweetheart minimal one whose entire body fits in the evildoer of your has eyes nearly similar size as your own. Keep as a primary concern that infants additionally have two full arrangements of teeth in their jaws. Among those in the eyes, that is a ton to fit in one little head. No big surprise, a child's head must be around 25% of their body's length. Number 9. Babies have more bones than adults. Talking about things infants have a greater amount of than grown-ups, children have around 300 bones in their little bodies. Contrast that and grown-ups, who just have 206 bones. Children begin with a great deal of ligament and separate plates that will later wire to make their grown-up skeleton. There's a valid justification for that, as well. Infant bodies should be adaptable to go through the birth channel. The biggest piece of a child's body, the head, is comprised of a few bone plates that can move during birth. That's certainly important and valuable to the infant. However, this likewise implies that infants have 2 or 3 weaknesses, or fontanelles, on their heads where the plates don't touch. The same adaptability that assists children with getting out into the world can mess some up once they're there. On the off chance that a newborn child lies on the weakness on the rear of his head for a really long time and again, his head smooths out like a fallen souffle, if left excessively long. The leveled back of the infant's head can make the whole head twist into a tear shape. Potential medicines for a child's cone head similarity can go from essentially moving the baby to his stomach for recess to having an uncommon head protector made for him. Number 10. Babies have 2 sets of teeth. We've all had baby teeth, lost them, got some kickback from the tooth fairy, and then grew some proper adult teeth in their place. That's a normal part of aging that we all go through. There's just one teeny tiny problem with that story. When those adult teeth show up, we aren't really growing them then. We actually grow all our baby teeth before we're even born. After birth, adult teeth start to grow in behind them and stay in little pockets inside the jaw until we start to lose our baby teeth. We then become eligible for tooth fairy trade-ins and have significantly fewer teeth in a baby. Next time you see a baby's sweet, gummy smile, remember that it is absolutely full of secret teeth.